he's in default. Ms. Threadgill, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Before we begin, I would offer the acknowledgement of paternity for the child Jadrian DeAndre Lee Clay that is attached to our petition in this case, which was filed November 22nd, 2024 as State's Exhibit A.
All right. I do find that exhibit attached to the Attorney General's pleading. Ms. Pacina, do you have any objection to that document coming into evidence today?
No, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. It will be admitted as State's Exhibit A.
I'll call Lexis Pacina.
Ms. Pacina, if you would please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll give in the cause before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Threadgill?
Would you state your name for the record, please?
Lexis Pacina?
And are you the mother of the children that we're here about today?
Yes.
And what are your children's names and ages?
Jadrian Clay, 8, and Jeremiah Clay, 5.
And who is their father?
Jadrian Clay.
And you signed an acknowledgement of paternity for your older son. Both of you signed that. That's been entered into evidence, correct?
Yes, correct.
And for your younger son, Jeremiah, is there anyone else who could be his father besides Mr. Clay?
No.
Were you involved in a sexual relationship with anyone other than Mr. Clay when Jeremiah was conceived?
No.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you came to the decision for Jeremiah to be born? Was that planned?
It was planned. He was going through a bone marrow procedure during the time. They told him to try to test and see if, we can sleep together to see if he can have children, if he can't. And we went from there. So then we started working on Jeremiah after the procedure of his bone marrow. And it did show that he is able to have kids. And he does now have Jeremiah, and he has 2 other ones.
And you said that he was undergoing bone marrow transplant treatment. You mean Mr. Clay, the father of the children?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
And was he there at the hospital when Jeremiah was born?
Yes, he was there the whole procedure of me being pregnant.
And Jeremiah was born in New Mexico, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So going back to your older child, he was born in Texas. So why was he born in Texas?
Because we were in Fort Worth, Texas, for 2.5 years because the father, Jadrian Clay, was getting a bone marrow transplant. He got the bone marrow transplant, and then he had 1.5 years of recovery. So during that time, I was pregnant when he was going back and forth to Fort Worth, and they automatically admitted him into Fort Worth to the hospital, and they kept him there during that time. So we were there about 2.5 years. So I was pregnant during the time, and I had Jadrian Jr. during the time that he was getting his bone marrow transplant in Fort Worth, Texas.
And did you also, the 2 of you also live in Lubbock together?
And then we also lived in Lubbock for about 1.5 years at the UMC hospital during the procedure that they diagnosed him with the bone marrow transplant.
So during these time periods, he was staying in the hospital the entire time, or did y'all also kind of go back and forth?
He was in the hospital during the times, and afterwards he would have ongoing checkups. So he would have to go back and forth from Lubbock and from Fort Worth to New Mexico.
And did he also have those checkups after your younger son Jeremiah was born?
And yes, I know of that. He did have appointments that he was going to in Fort Worth to get checked.
And do you know, since your younger son was born, did the 2 of you live together in Texas?
No.
When did the 2 of you split up?
It was about 4 years ago.
So would it have been in 2020?
Yes.
Okay. And what caused the breakup? Why did y'all split up?
He left me because he got another woman pregnant, and during the time we were staying with his mother, so I didn't have nowhere else to go. I came to Levelland with family, and from there I ended up staying here. I enrolled them in school, and now we have our own house and stuff here in Levelland.
So do you feel like the reason why you came back to Texas with the children was because of Mr. Clay?
I just didn't have nowhere to go at the time.
And you were living with him and his mother at the
Yeah.
time?
Yes.
And since the two of you split up in 2020, has he visited with the children?
No.
And has he contacted you in regards to the well-being of the children?
No.
Has he provided you any financial support for the children?
No. Nothing at all.
Are you asking for back child support?
If possible.
As far as who makes the decisions for the children, who has been doing that since the two of you split up?
I have.
And do you believe that you and Mr. Clay would be able to co-parent together to make decisions for the children?
I believe so if he's willing to.
Do you have any, when's the last time you had contact with him?
I haven't. It's been about 2.5 years.
And
I have
just
not. I
as
have
far
not got out of him.
okay, as far as the visitation that the court would potentially order between him and the children, what are you asking the court to order?
Visitation with grandmother, which is his mother, during the time. It's been a while since he's been around the children. I'm not sure like his whereabouts or anything, but I just feel more comfortable and safe if the grandmother's there visitation during the time.
Do you have safety concerns about him being around the children?
No.
Is your concern that he just doesn't have a relationship with them?
Yes.
And if these visitations were to take place, would you want them to take place in the county that you live in or in New Mexico where he lives?
If possible, the county I live in, just because they have more of their whereabouts here in the town. My children.
How do you have the children covered for health insurance?
They're both on Medicaid.
And do you have any other source for insurance for them at a reasonable cost to you besides Medicaid?
No, ma'am.
And do you have any idea whether Mr. Clay has insurance available for the children?
I'm not sure. I doubt it.
Do you know if he's working currently?
I don't know if
Did he work when you were in a relationship?
No.
And do you have any information regarding who he's worked for previously?
I believe I have a name, Apache, where he did used to work at the time, but I was not with him whenever he did get that job.
And was that in Hobbs?
It was in New Mexico, Hobbs.
And is there anything else that I missed that you feel like the court should know?
No, ma'am. I believe you got everything.
And Judge, I'll pass the witness.
All right. Ms. Pacina, do you have anything you want to add to explain about your testimony?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So your concern with the visitation, just so I can make an appropriate order, I just wanted to clarify, is he just hasn't been around him and he would be a stranger to him. Is that?
Yes. Yes.
So now, has his mother been around them since the two of you split?
No, she hasn't either. But she was there during the times that the children were born, and I was staying with her. She did help me during the times that he
Okay.
couldn't. But I just feel more comfortable if she's around while the children are around with the father. Just
Okay.
for safety
But
reasons.
she lives in New Mexico, correct?
Yes,
And you want the visitation to take place in Levelland. Is that right?
however, whatever is possible.
So, I mean, would you feel if he started out with some just sort of get to know you visits, afternoon visits in Levelland, would you feel comfortable supervising the visitation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. There's never been any violence between you or anything like that. Is
No.
that right? Okay. So, and then maybe later on, if he could take them to New Mexico to his mom's house.
Then that would be great,
Okay.
if possible.
So did he have cancer? Is that why he was receiving bone marrow transplants?
He had, yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure what it was called, the exact word, but I know he did get a bone marrow transplant. His white and his red blood cells were shutting down. So during that time, they told him he would need a bone marrow transplant. He did get the bone marrow transplant, and then he did recover. So, and I believe now he's not getting any disability or anything. So
You believe he's 100% able-bodied, able to work? Okay.
yes, ma'am.
And Apache, is that an oil company? Is it an
Yes.
oil drilling company? Okay. All right. All right. Anything else I should know?
No, ma'am.
When in 2020 do you believe y'all split up?
May, around May, maybe the
So,
end of May, May 18th, May 20th.
so it'd be 5 years ago coming up. Is that
Yes,
okay?
it's been a while.
Right. Okay. All right. And this child was born, let's see, the youngest child was born
May 17th of 19.
19. So when he was about a year old, y'all split up?
Yeah. Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
all right. Basically you had to move back to Texas because of what he did.
Yes, and I was not able to live there at the moment. So they were willing to take the other woman in and letting us go. So I mean, I brought my children and got them somewhere safe where they're supposed to be. So
Okay.
ended
All
up ended up with family.
Okay. All right. Ms. Threadgill, do you have any additional witnesses, or do you have more questions for Ms. Pacina now, or?
Nothing more for Miss Pacina. I do have an additional witness.
All right. Go ahead and call your next witness.
I'll call Mary Eaton.
Ms. Eaton, if you would please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll give in the cause before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Threadgill?
Will you state your name for the record, please?
Mary Eaton
And where do you work?
for the Office of the Attorney General.
And as part of your duties, do you do investigations as to income?
I do.
And do you also do investigations as to a party's location?
I do.
And did you do those investigations as to Mr. Clay, the father in the case that we're here about today?
Yes.
And what did you find?
We show Mr. Clay lived in Texas back in 2022. We have two separate addresses based in Midland, Texas. The first one was between February 22nd, 2022 and July 29th, 2022. The second address, still in Midland, was opened on October 12th, 2022 and closed out November 28th, 2022.
And as far as employment, what did you find?
We show there's two separate employers. The first one was Intermountain Staffing. It's based out of Salt Lake City, Utah, but it did show wages coming through Texas. That was in the first quarter of 2023. And then there's also an employer, Aquint, based out of Nashville. Wages came through Texas. Those were between the first quarter of 2022 and the last quarter, or the last quarter I have on file was the second quarter of 2024 with that employer.
And does that lead you to believe that Mr. Clay was working in Texas during those time periods?
It does.
And as far as the amount of income, is there anything that's reported that would be helpful in assisting with child support calculations?
Probably not current child support, but it would be appropriate for retroactive child support.
Would you tell the court what income was reported that you have access to?
Yes, how far would you like me to go back?
Then we would need to go back for 4 years if that's possible.
Okay. The Intermountain Staffing has just one quarter. It's the first quarter of 2023. The wages are $1,771. And then the Aquient, beginning the first quarter of 2022 was $3,010. Second quarter of 22 was $3,030. The third quarter of 2022 is $9,285. The fourth quarter of 2022 was $2,230. Then the first quarter of 2023 is $960. Second quarter of 2023, $6,307.50. Third quarter of 2023, $11,857.50. Fourth quarter of 2023 is $10,365. First quarter of 2024 is $10,267.50. And then finally, the second quarter of 2024 is $3,922.50.
Judge, I'll pass the witness.
All right. Ms. Pacina, do you have any questions for Ms. Eaton?
No, ma'am.
All right. Ms. Threadgill, do you have any additional witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Pacina, do you have any witnesses or evidence other than what you've testified to already that you want to present to the court?
No, ma'am.
All right. All right. If that's all, then let me make some calculations and I'll be right back. I'm sorry again. I didn't see, I heard testimony that he has other children, but can you clarify that a little more, Ms. Threadgill? I don't know how many other children he might have.
I believe it's 2, but I'll ask Ms. Pacina. Ms. Pacina, does he have 2 other children?
Yes, a girl and a boy. 2.
And do those children live with him, to your knowledge?
Not that I know of.
Do you know if he has a child support order for those 2 children?
No, ma'am. I
You
don't know.
don't know, or he doesn't.
No, ma'am, I don't know. I have
Okay.
not spoken to him.
And presumably those children would be in New Mexico,
Yes.
not Texas.
The little girl that he does have, y'all stated that he did have income in Midland. The mother of, or his baby mom, one of them lived in Midland. So I'm not sure.
Okay.
The little girl lives in Midland and the little boy lives in New Mexico.
Okay. Ms. Threadgill, does the Attorney General's office have any information about another child support order for Mr. Clay?
Let me double check. We do not.
Okay. All right. Give me just a moment. All right. I am going to find that the long arm allegation in the Attorney General's petition to establish the parent-child relationship and the petition in suit affecting the parent-child relationship has been proven, and that the court does have personal jurisdiction over Mr. Clay for the purpose of establishing paternity of the child Jeremiah King Clay. That the court has jurisdiction as far as establishing an order for Jadrian DeAndre Lee Clay based on the acknowledgement of paternity, and for Jeremiah. The court finds that Ms. Lexis Marie Pacina and the children reside in Texas due to acts or directives of Mr. Clay, that being him causing her to have to move out of his mother's house and on the fact that she had to move to Texas for that reason. In addition, I also find that Mr. Clay has minimum contacts with Texas due to the fact that he has worked here during the lives of both children. He has worked in Midland and has lived for a period of time in Midland. In addition, his constant medical visits to Texas during the life of the younger child do indicate that he has minimum contacts with the state. Therefore, the court is able to exercise jurisdiction over him for the purpose of establishing paternity of Jeremiah. The court finds that the testimony does support a finding of paternity for Mr. Clay for the child Jeremiah King Clay, and the court finds that Mr. Jadrian DeAndre Clay is the father of the child Jeremiah. Also finds that paternity is established for the child Jadrian DeAndre Lee Clay by the duly executed acknowledgement of paternity. And the court finds that Mr. Clay has a duty of support for both children. Due to the fact that the parties have not been in contact and Ms. Pacina has been raising these children, the court finds it would not be in the best interest of the children to name the parents joint managing conservators. The court will name Lexis Marie Pacina as the sole managing conservator of both children. She will have the exclusive right to determine the primary residence of the children and may do so without regard to geographic location. Mr. Clay will be a possessory conservator. Since Mr. Clay has not been around these children anytime recently, the court's going to do a stepped up visitation starting out with supervised visits to take place on the first and third Saturdays of every month in Levelland, Texas at the McDonald's restaurant there. Mr. Clay must give Ms. Pacina at least 72 hours notice of his intent to exercise these visits. If he does so, the visits will take place from 1 to 4 at the McDonald's restaurant in Levelland, Texas, supervised by Ms. Pacina or any competent adult that she designates. That will go on, that will continue until Mr. Clay has exercised at least 5 such visits. Once he's done that, he can have on the same days, the first and third Saturdays, he can have all-day visits with the children. He would pick the children up at the McDonald's at 9 a.m. and return them to the McDonald's at 4 p.m. The children will not leave Hockley County, Texas during those visits. Again, the same notice requirement, 72 hours notice. Once he has visited with the children 10 times, he may move forward and have the children overnight. He may take them to Hobbs, to where he lives, I assume, but they will spend the night at his mother's house. Do you know his mother's name, Ms. Pacina?
Yes, Dewana Alexander.
They will spend the night at the home of Dewana Alexander. He will start out with 1 overnight beginning Saturday at 5 p.m. and ending, will return the children Sunday at 5 p.m. The exchanges will take place at the McDonald's restaurant unless otherwise agreed. The same 72 hours notice requirement applies. Once he has done, and those will also be on the first and third Saturdays of every month unless another date is agreed to by the parties. Once he has completed 10 such visits, he should be entitled to the standard possession order, but all overnights under the standard possession order will take place at the home of Dewana Alexander until further order of the court or agreement of the parties. All notice of the 72 hours notice applies to every stage of this visitation. Do you think that you would like to use a co-parenting application on your phone to communicate with Mr. Clay if he chooses to participate in this?
Yes.
Okay, so I will order the parties to communicate through use of the co-parenting app Close. It's an application on your phone. You can find it. It does record all conversations between, text conversations between the parties, and is usually admissible in court if there comes a problem.
Okay.
All right. I think that covers the visitation. Did you have any questions about that, Ms. Ray-Gill?
No, the only part I missed is on the overnight visit. Did you say it's from 5 p.m. to 5 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. With regard to retroactive child support for the past 48 months, based on the testimony of Ms. Eaton, most months were figured at the minimum wage presumption because there wasn't really enough evidence regarding what the total income was. There were 9 months that were figured at a higher rate, but the total retroactive child support comes to $18,900. I will enter a judgment against Mr. Clay for $18,900 for the past 48 months of the children's lives. With regard to current child support, even though we don't have current income, the last few quarters of reporting to the Attorney General's office through their sources indicate the ability of Mr. Clay to make much higher than the minimum wage amount. The court figured current child support based on a gross monthly income of $3,609, giving Mr. Clay credit for the $50 medical cash medical that was ordered, and for all taxes that would normally be taken out. He probably is subject to New Mexico income tax, but I don't know what that is.
Oh.
I don't know how much that is. And he's not, does Ms. Threadgill, do you have any idea whether he should be given additional credit for New Mexico income tax?
I believe that they have state taxes,
State and
but
federal.
I don't know
I don't either, and he's not
what
here
the
to
rate would be.
about it. And so I don't, in at least he was paid through Texas for some significant portion of time. So I don't know that that's not still the case, but I don't know what his taxes would be. I guess I should try to see if I can figure that out.
I have a range. It's 1.7% to 5.9%, but I'm not, and I'm sure that's based off of the amount of income, like the federal taxes would be.
5 brackets.
Yes.
So it looks like household 504 plus this monthly. Oh, okay, it's yearly, 4.9 over 16,000. So hold on. It looks like it's going to be 142.84 a month.
142.84.
Yeah, so let me recalculate child support. Okay. So that's going to bring his current child support to 720, with a step down to 575.
And does that include the credit for the other 2 children?
No, because I don't really have any testimony that those children, I have testimony they don't live with him, and one of them lives in Texas, and you guys don't have a child support order, and I don't know about the other one. He's not here to tell us, and so
Okay.
I'm assuming he doesn't have a child support order. I think that's what Ms. Pacina thought he doesn't. So I don't know. That's the best we can do without him here to tell us. All right. So current child support will be $720. Cash medical support will be $50. And then payment on the arrears will be $200 a month. And all those payments will begin on May the 1st of 2025. I will tax all court costs against Mr. Clay as billed by the District Clerk of Hockley County, Texas, to be paid within 1 year of today's date. I think I've covered everything, Ms. Threadgill. Have I left anything out?
I believe that is everything, Judge.
All right. Every party to a hearing before the associate judge is entitled to a new or de novo hearing in front of the referring court. The new or de novo hearing must be requested in writing. The request must be filed within 3 days of the notice of the substance of my ruling and served on the other parties to this action. It must specify what issue or issues are to be heard by the referring court. Referring court will set a hearing within 30 days of the request for the de novo, but the requesting party must obtain a setting from the court. One party asks for a de novo, any other party may ask for one within 3 days of the initial request. No one asks for a de novo. My order becomes an order of the referring court by operation of law without need for further ratification 3 days from today's date. Ms. Pacina, did you have any questions, ma'am?